Happy Friday and Merry Christmas Eve. Thanks for starting the afternoon with us here on THV11 News at Noon. I'm Michael Aaron alongside meteorologist Scott Covert, who is very busy today despite some pretty easy weather forecasting.
Well, let's not call it easy, but it's certainly lighter.
I would still say it anyway. The point being that you're tracking Santa. That's the big part of your job today.
THV11 working with NORAD to keep tabs on the big guy himself. Guess what? He's delivered over 2.5 billion with a B gifts already. Here's a live look. You've got Rudolph leading the pack up front. Not going to need Rudolph's nose in Arkansas tonight. He's going to have some headwinds, though. In fact, that's what we're looking at outside. Some southwesterlies blowing in pretty quickly, 10 to 20 miles per hour gust in Little Rock as high as 30 at times. Now you've got some pretty warm temperatures outside as well. The two really go hand in hand. That's where that warmer air mass is blowing in from. 66 currently in Little Rock, 71 in Russellville. It is 74 in D. Queen. Now, most of us are dry. If you're going to be out and about running some last-minute errands, I'm not expecting much in the way of rainfall, but I will tell you, I myself encountered a little bit of drizzle about an hour ago. Seen a couple other reports of that in West Little Rock. Those last-minute shoppers, well, this is what you're looking at. We'll be in the 70s, eventually dropping into the upper 60s for this evening. It is going to remain breezy throughout the rest of today. We'll eventually hit 73 degrees under a mostly cloudy sky. A few peaks of sunshine, certainly. Coming up, we'll take a look at your Christmas Day forecast and when we can expect some cooler temperatures. Those details and more still ahead.
Today marks 2 weeks since deadly tornadoes ripped through northeast Arkansas. Now, more relief is on the way to people impacted by those storms. This morning, Governor Asa Hutchinson tweeted, quote, "Just in time for Christmas, President Biden approved major disaster declaration for Arkansas," end quote. He says individual assistance will be available and thanked the president for his quick response. You can learn more about the declaration and how to apply for assistance on FEMA's website. New at noon, the two men found dead outside of Baptist Hospital in Little Rock last weekend have been identified. According to police, the bodies of 19-year-old Kenneth West and 20-year-old Justice Moore were found inside of a car that was still running near the front entrance of the hospital on Sunday night. Investigators tell us the men were victims of a shooting that happened at the intersection of West 36th and John Barrow. A third victim showed up at the hospital a short time later and was treated for a gunshot wound to the leg. Little Rock police have not said if they have a suspect in the case. Stay with us here on THV11 for the very latest. Governor Asa Hutchinson urging people to stay safe during the holidays as health officials report another significant jump in cases. 1,314 new infections were reported yesterday. That's the biggest one-day jump we've seen since October. Active cases are also back up past 8,000. Meanwhile, 495 people are fighting the virus from a hospital. That's one more than Wednesday. And unfortunately, another 13 people have died from COVID-19. The latest COVID surge is having a major impact on holiday travel. Several airlines are canceling flights this Christmas Eve because of COVID-related staffing shortages. So far, airlines have canceled nearly 500 U.S. flights. The disruption comes as the highly transmissible Omicron variant continues its rapid spread. Michael George reports from LaGuardia Airport in New York.
Travelers are packing airports across the country trying to get to their destinations in time for the holiday, even as new COVID cases, driven by the Omicron variant, continue to skyrocket.
I'm very scared to be flying, to be honest. I'm glad to see everyone looks pretty masked up.
The surge forced United to cancel more than 150 Christmas Eve flights because of staffing shortages. Delta and others have also canceled flights.
You know, for my siblings and my parents, I think they're a little bit stressed out right now trying to figure it out.
In a statement, the head of United apologized for the disruption and said the airline is working hard to rebook as many passengers as possible. Concerned about labor shortages, Delta's CEO asked the CDC earlier this week to reduce the recommended quarantine time from 10 days to 5 days for employees who are vaccinated. The agency has revised guidelines for healthcare workers to reduce staff shortages. Infected workers who are asymptomatic can now return after 7 days with a negative test, and those who are boosted do not need to quarantine following a high-risk exposure.
We're overly exhausted, and it's starting to look like last year.
Hospitalizations are rising at St. Mary Medical Center in California. COVID patient Antoinette Kelly regrets not getting vaccinated.
I can't believe that I didn't get the shot, and I will be getting one. I don't want to do this again.
According to a projection from University of Washington researchers, nearly 3 million Americans could be infected each day by the end of January. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Checking in with flights to and from the Little Rock Airport, things look to be all clear. An American flight was delayed earlier this morning, but everything else seems to be good to go. But you want to make sure to check your flight status before heading out to the airport. Christmas celebrations have kicked off around the globe, and as Ian Lee reports, even Santa's been seen getting ready for his big night.
It's Christmas time all over the world, and the spirit is real in Bethlehem. Palestinian Christians paraded in front of the Church of the Nativity, where tradition holds that Jesus was born. And at the Vatican, Pope Francis urged people to be humble this holiday season. Earlier today, the snow was thick as the man in red also gave a Christmas message before his big night.
Now it is time to turn these worries into plenty of goodwill. Let's give time to children and young people and do something together.
Santa stopped off in Paris to swim with the fish before heading down to Brazil to deliver 300,000 meals to people in need. But there are concerns COVID will play a Grinch again this Christmas. Here in the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson used his annual holiday message to urge everyone to get vaccinated.
Getting jabbed, not just for themselves, for ourselves, but for friends and family and everyone we meet. And that, after all, is the teaching of Jesus Christ.
In Thailand, Santa's helpers swapped reindeer for elephants to deliver hand sanitizer and masks to children. And in Spain, there's a holiday rush to get tested for COVID to give folks peace of mind when visiting family during the season of peace. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
So interesting to see those celebrations. And here's a fun fact for you. When we think of the nativity scene in baby Jesus in Bethlehem, we often think of something that looks like a wooden barn, right? But according to Christian tradition, the manger was actually in a cave. Who knew? As 2021 comes to a close, we're getting ready for one of our very favorite THV11 traditions. Every year, we look back at some of the most positive, feel-good stories we've shared with you and bring them back in one heartwarming 30-minute special. So join Amanda Yeager, Hayden Balgavy, and meteorologist Scott Covert tonight at 6:30 for the good news of 2021. And if you're not going to be home, make sure to set that DVR. Santa may have hit the road already or taken to the skies, but his helpers are still spreading joy, and there's a one-of-a-kind Kris Kringle right here in Arkansas that you have to meet. Scott.
Have some last-minute shopping you've got to get done today? Well, the weather pretty decent for it. Boy, it's warm outside, though. We'll take a look at your Christmas forecast and if Santa's going to bring any cooler weather. Those details coming right up.
Hi, I'm Sergeant First Class Jonathan Henschel. I'm from Russellville, Arkansas. I'm currently deployed overseas with the 142nd Field Artillery Brigade. I'd like to wish my family and friends a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope to get to see you soon. I'd like to make a special shout out to my wife Asha, my two daughters Jalen and Sophia. I love you the mostest. I win them wins.